Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Check Rock podcast. I
It's
am
just
your
Check Rock.
host.
It's just Check Rock. Also, the Check Rock podcast is another podcast, so we cannot be saying that.
Oh, all right. Hey,
You're right. We
all
can't.
right,
That's
and
that's legit another. I was like, oh, cool. Check Rock. They ain't got that. We ain't got that shit.
all right, cool. All right, never mind. Scratch that. Uh, hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Check Rock. I am one of your hosts. Sean over there is the other host, Marquise.
Hello.
This is the podcast. If you don't know, where we talk about basketball, mostly 76ers, who are floundering right now.
Floundering. Are they?
Floundering. That's a
Also,
word.
also,
I
we're
like it.
recording this Wednesday, February 7th.
Yep.
Like
We are
V9.
playing the Warriors currently. Are we
Yes,
still
we're
playing?
we're playing the Warriors right now. We are getting our ass whooped. It is
Yep.
71-52. Deadline is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I believe. 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
3 p.m. Tomorrow. And yeah, we need to make some moves because we've been getting our ass whooped. It's not like we're losing respectfully.
Respectfully.
I thought it was like respect, but who cares? We're not even losing like by like a possession or two or even 10 points. We're
No.
getting our ass whooped. It
We're
is the
winning by a possession or two.
there. We haven't won since Tyrese dropped 50.
Yeah. And we won that by one possession, I believe.
Yeah,
Came down to the wire. Patrick
King.
Beverly threw the ball in the air just so the time could expire, and Tyrese had to go and grab it because it was his 51-point fucking game ball. And Pat, what are you doing?
Yeah. And right now nobody's playing good.
Yeah.
Like Tyrese,
Um.
our leading scorer has 11 points. It's the
Now
third quarter.
Tyrese is also. I mean, he's been back for a while, but Tyrese also missed a couple games. I know he was having some issues.
Ankle.
Ankle issues, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we still have Robert Covington out. Nick Batum is out this game. D'Anthony Melton also out, and of course Joel Embiid will be out for, I believe they said, up to
40,
4 to 6 weeks,
48, 48
4
weeks.
to 8 weeks. So we can basically, or I'm saying we, look at us Philly fans inserting ourselves into everything. He can basically kiss the MVP goodbye
Mm-hmm.
because he will not make the minimum game requirement, unfortunately, in spite of the fact that he is doing something historic right now.
Also, I feel like the NBA is going to suspend this shit after this year, or at least
The
try.
minimum game requirement.
At least try because they did sign it with the CBA, so it might be kind of there, or they could possibly lower it to probably like 60. I just feel like if you play more than 50% of the games, you should be cool. Um,
I
and
mean,
and it's not
I
just
think if you play more than 50% of the games, but also if your team is noticeably worse without you,
like Sixers are bad.
like you know, I hate to say it, but some of those like Steph Curry teams, the years that he won, the two back-to-back years, and when he won unanimously, like the Warriors were still a really good team without Steph. They're not obviously they weren't like they wouldn't be a championship team without Steph, but
Yeah.
they're still a top 5 seed in the West
So not
without Steph Curry.
not playing for the Sixers. Oh, Mo Bamba's playing. Okay. So you said D'Anthony Melton, Daniel House is also out. Obviously, Joel Embiid, Marcus Morris Sr. has not played in a while. Kenny
Yeah.
Lofton, who's a two-way guy. Ricky Council, another two-way guy. Batum has not played in a while. Trevelin. Oh my God, Trevelin Queen. Do you remember Trevelin Queen?
I do. He was here briefly, but yes,
Right.
I do remember him.
Turquavion Smith. I'm sorry. And Robert Covington are all out this game. So the Sixers are severely shorthanded.
Yep.
With the trade deadline tomorrow, I expect the Sixers to make move. There was reports that they expect the Sixers to make at least 1 to 3 moves tomorrow. But before the deadline, we have been
Yeah.
linked so far today to Bogdanovich from the Pistons, Buddy Hield from the Pacers, and recently Malcolm Brogdon from the Trailblazers.
Although it wasn't as I guess solid as of a rumor or whatever, but there it was reported that interest was expressed in Andre Drummond and that one of the few players that the Sixers would be willing to part with or even more than one first round pick for was one Mr. DeMar DeRozan, who
Doesn't make sense.
I can't say it does, only because of how much he needs the ball in his hands.
I said doesn't.
Now, here's what I'll say. If you were moving on from Tobias Harris, it makes more sense, only because, with Robert Covington and Marcus Morris and Nick Batum and all these other guys, like, you have depth at the 4 spot, the 3/4. Obviously, Kelly Oubre as well, even though he's not really a 4, but still, and Paul Reed. Um, you have enough depth at the 4 spot that you can make up for that. Whereas having a secondary ball handler, like, that's something that I think we could use. If you're exchanging Tobias Harris essentially for DeMar DeRozan, you still have your 3 top scorers. The only difference is your, I guess, second or third option becomes a little bit more cloudy of exactly who's who. I mean, DeMar hasn't dropped 50 this season, but he is very clutch.
I
He's proven that time and time again, and he is a bucket.
Why I wouldn't do it is because of spacing. DeMar does not shoot
Yeah,
threes, damn near at all.
yeah,
There was a play where like DeMar was at 3 point line and he put his foot on the line, so it didn't count as a three. I was
yeah,
like, that's the most DeMar shot ever.
yeah,
So it's just like super long too.
yeah. Now,
And
here's my one counter to that though. With Tobias, the games that he does do well, he doesn't shoot a lot of threes. He's a much better catch and shoot player than DeMar is, which makes him great, besides Tyrese and Joel. And it does help the spacing, obviously. But the games when Tobias actually does go off, he shoots a lot of mid-range shots and a lot of shots at or near the rim. So it's one of those things where if you're still relying on threes, you're never going to get the most out of Tobias Harris anyway.
so so I'm finishing my point and why I
Right.
don't think DeMar is the piece. One, I feel like Tobias fits better because he has the threat of spacing. Obviously, he doesn't have that gravity, which I brought up last podcast. He doesn't have that gravity from three like a JJ Redick did, like a Seth Curry did, even Tyrese Maxey. He doesn't have that gravity. So if he's not hitting shots at all, it it kind of kills everything
Yeah.
because we've had those games
He's
where
more of a detriment than anything else.
he takes 3 shots in 37 minutes.
Yeah.
Like we need a guy who can come in, doesn't need the ball. If he gets past the ball in the corner, is going to shoot.
Yeah.
Not going to dribble, not going to try to make a move. A guy who's capable if need be, but not normally a guy. And that's why I think Bogdanovich from the Pistons is perfect because I feel not only that, he's getting up like 7 threes a game. 7 threes a game, shooting pretty good, I'm pretty sure, because he's always been a great 3 point shooter. And also, he's not bad. He's kind of like Ersan Ilyasova, but like a better shooter. Kind of like uses his body, good team defender. You surround him with defensive players, he looks better. I think that's what's happened, for a lot of players for the Sixers, like a Shake Milton, like stuff like that, where you can not necessarily hide them, but they can use their bodies to guide their player. Because they're not going to keep nobody in front of them, but they can guide their player into help defense and stuff like that, surround them, double team, stuff like that.
I think the best example of that would probably be George Niang, who
Yeah,
I miss a
very
little
much.
bit.
Yeah, very much a team defender. Tries hard too. It's not even like
Yeah.
he's not trying. Like there's been times where like we've watched what's his name, Seth Curry, just kind of just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. Like he know he can't beat him, and he just goes around, turns around, and just like hopes like somebody's there to like recover, so he can go get the and help on the other side. But yeah, Bogdanovich right now is shooting how many threes a game? 8 threes a game. Yeah, 7 threes a game. I'm sorry, 7 threes a game, 7.4 threes a game, and shooting 41%. We need that desperately.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield is another guy who's actually crazy enough to say this, but Buddy Hield is one of the best 3-point shooters of all time. It's crazy to say that, but like it's
Yeah.
true.
So
Um,
here's the only caveat to that to me. You still have Kelly Oubre.
I feel as though Kelly Oubre is going to be used as trade bait, and it's crazy.
Oh,
It's crazy to think
don't
about that.
say that.
It's crazy to think about that because we got him on such a cheap deal. He came
Yeah.
here to really prove himself. Yada yada yada. But if you're making a trade for a guy who probably doesn't make that much money, like say you want a Alex Caruso, but you don't want to throw 2 first-round picks. Kelly Oubre's only get paid the veteran minimum. You could go uh, Kelly Oubre and Paul Reed in like 1 first or 3 seconds, and you could go get somebody like that. So you could use that power in that minimum contract and use that to entice somebody to, instead of you giving up more in terms of picks, you can go, all right, well, we got Kelly Oubre. He can come through and help. He hasn't, he could start, he can come off the bench, he could do a lot of things for you. And you could get the player you want while also keeping some of your assets for, off-season trades, anything like that, or even an additional trade that you could do also at the deadline. They, like you said, maybe Andre Drummond, Alex Caruso, Kelly Oubre.
Now, if that's the package, I'd be willing to part with Kelly Oubre.
And also, Kelly Oubre is kind of, I mean, I'm not going to say he's falling off since the injury, but
Well, I would say he's shut up. I don't know if I'd say he's fallen off, but I will say he's garnering more attention now because Embiid has been out of the lineup and
yes.
Maxi's been in and out of the lineup, and most of the depth that I talked about it, the wings with Marcus Morris and all these other guys, it's just not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, I think, more being asked of him, um, and he's not playing with the same sort of freedom because there's just way more attention on him now.
And
There, people made such a big deal out of it at the beginning of the season. Oh, the 76ers have 4 players averaging 20 points or more, and it's like, okay, well, now one of those players is out for the foreseeable future for 4 to 8 weeks.
and also was averaging 20 plus 14 plus
Yeah,
15.
exactly. Right. So that's a huge drop.
Right.
That's a huge loss in scoring that has to be made up
Not only that,
by 3
what I
people,
would
one
say,
of which is in his like 4th year in the league.
what I would say is Joel Embiid. I feel like we're now seeing why Joel Embiid is the most valuable player.
Yeah.
Because Joel makes these guys look great. Like even Tyrese Maxey has struggled. I mean, obviously he had that 51-point game, but ever since then, he kind of struggled because like teams are focused on him. There's no
He's
Joel.
been inconsistent.
Yeah, there's no Joel to dump it to. There's no, oh shit, the play's done. Joel, figure it out. Or Joel drive, pump, get doubled, and then he kicking it out, and we're swinging. Like there's nothing there. And we're seeing like these players are better when Joel's here, or better when there's pressure taken off of them. Because we look at even Nicholas Batum. Nicholas Batum don't look the same if Joel's not playing. Like these guys really, like their effectiveness is determined on Joel.
I think one thing too that a lot of people maybe don't realize is that when you lose Joel, you're not just losing his scoring, you're losing
His defense,
his free throws.
Yeah.
Which free throws, having a big man who can not only, be a force down low, but who also gets to the free throw line, like that slows the game down tremendously. And when you have an older team, that's huge. Having those moments where you can kind of take not a break, but just like not be running constantly, like that's a huge that can be the difference between a make and a miss shot at the end of a game. Just those, you compound those moments of just like having a break throughout the game where Joel's at the free throw line. Same thing I think could be said about Tyrese. Like, Tyrese was one of the most effective 4th quarter scorers in the league for the first half of the season. And now towards the end, it's like, who's getting the ball. It's Tyrese.
Right.
You know what he
and he's
wants.
A smaller guy too.
Yeah.
Like you
exactly.
start to realize how short he is when there's no Joel out there. Because like he can, Joel screen, bet. Now I'm beating that big. He's beating that big to the rim. And now it's
Yep.
like, oh, that big is now blitzing, and it's like, oh shit, now I got to find a way to get the ball to somebody and throws a crazy
Yep.
pass, turnovers. We're seeing the most
Yep.
turnovers of Tyrese Maxey's career in this time because like
Yeah.
the decisions aren't easy now. They're not easy. It's
Yeah.
not Joel help us.
The decisions aren't easy, and there's not as much space
there's not enough space.
because people are going to sag off of Mo Bamba. They're going to sag off of Paul Reed,
And I
and
feel
they're gonna key in on you.
um breaking news: Bogdanovich has been ruled out with a calf injury. Now this is the same Bogdanovich that the Sixers are looking at, and
Yeah.
he's out this next Piston game with an injury.
Hmm.
Um, I wonder what that injury might be.
It's
But
jet lag. I mean,
jet lag. But like for real, I feel like this team needs more spacing. We need legit spacers. I feel like Batum is good, but he does it on volume. Like he kind of takes as many threes as you give him. He's not out there looking for it. He's more like an open shot taker type of guy.
yeah.
And if you're not finding him, he's just like, okay, I'm just over here.
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre, I don't think I want him to take as many threes as he does. And then like outside of Tyrese, Oubre, Harris, there's not many guys who are going to take threes, especially with Melton and Cove out. There's not really good 3-point shooters,
Yeah.
and I feel
I
like
think. Okay.
if we get like a Buddy Hield or a Bogdanovich, I think that helps out significantly because they add back that gravity that we once had.
I think. I think there's a sort of a crossroads. I think the ideal situation is, of course, the Caruso and Drummond.
Right.
If you can get those two,
And I,
that's ideal.
and now this
But
Caruso is shooting a career high 41% from three this year.
right, because you get Caruso, who's not only a great shooter, but he's also a great defender.
Guards 1 through 4, legit.
Yep. And then you get Drummond, who, you know,
Rebounds,
when you
lobs.
exactly when you have a team that's struggling a little bit offensively, rebounds can be what wins you games. Those second chance buckets, when you're maybe not hitting shots quite as much, having somebody who can clean up the glass and get you second chance buckets, get easy putbacks, and then on top of that, Drummond's not. He's definitely not the defender that Joel Embiid is, but he's not a slouch on defense. He's agile and big enough to hold his own
Kind of has
and
that Jokic
bother some
defense.
shots.
That Jokic and Marcus All defense. Can't really jump.
Exactly.
I mean, well, he can. He's athletic. He could jump, but it's like his defense isn't predicated on
Well,
blocks and steals. It's like you have to move me to get by
he
me. Like,
he can jump, but he's smaller.
yeah,
He's I think Drummond's only like
6'10".
6'10", 6'11",
Yeah,
whereas Jokic and Marc Gasol, they were, I think, legit 7 foot. Marc Gasol might have been 6'11", maybe, but they were bigger for
yeah.
sure. So
I think we
you know,
need a big body because I like Paul Reed.
yeah,
I do, but I don't think he is a backup center on a championship team. I think
right.
he does a lot of I want to prove myself, whereas though Andre Drummond is like, I am who I am. He's had that
And
time.
I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna be great at what I'm great at.
Right. He's Drummond in this stage of his career, good starter, great backup big.
Yep.
Like he knows it. And when he came here, we seen it. We seen him 10 and 10 off the bench. We seen that. We seen when Joel was out, he had like a 15, 20, and 7 game. Like he's capable of these things in these brief moments. Whereas though when he's a backup, if he's coming off for Joel, like that spells you a lot. And if you get another point guard, I think they should definitely go point. I think their biggest need probably shifts. I think the backup big now becomes more of a thing because Joel is out, and you need somebody to be there. Like you need a legit starter type guy to be there with Joel's out. And I think Drummond, they've had talks like you said with Chicago about Drummond. Also, Kelly Olynyk is another guy the Sixers have been linked to, which would probably open up some more room for Paul Reed because then Kelly would be able to space the floor. 2 Kellys on the same team would be crazy. He would be able to space the floor, and Paul Reed can, still be the lob in the rim, rim running type player. And
it it would be sort of similar to what the Bucks do with Giannis and Brooke.
It'll be sort of similar, yeah. But also you know, and Paul Reed could be the, use Kelly Olynyk, another legit 7 foot guy, kind of the same with kind of Georgia Yangish, because he's
Yeah.
not a great defender, but he shows effort. Um, and I think somebody like that paired with maybe a Paul Reed, maybe you have to trade Paul Reed to get him. It's crazy because if Paul Reed goes to Utah and he signed with the Utah before we matched it, it's fucking crazy that he ends up back there.
He just
Um,
ends up in Utah regardless.
but yeah, I just think we need more legit scorers. Like we can have more, not legit scorers, but shooters as well.
Yeah.
So everybody they have looked at right now, except for Andre Drummond, is a 40+% shooter, and we
Hmm.
need that. We haven't had a sniper in a minute, like just on the floor just to shoot threes
Yep.
since Seth Curry.
And I think that would be a good trade not only for now but for the future as well, for when Joel does come back, because we've seen how Joel is able to elevate shooters.
Right.
Like that's one thing that you know the tandem of Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons made JJ Redick and Seth Curry look like
They were shooting
Hall of
career
Famers.
numbers.
like they
Career
like
numbers.
like if they were on the Sixers for their entire career, they would be Hall of Famers. Like
And and
it was amazing.
if it wasn't for that James Harden trade, Seth Curry probably still here.
Well, it's interesting because somebody actually somebody reposted a tweet, a old tweet from before the James Harden trade when the Sixers were still shopping Ben Simmons. I believe it might have been in the off season before the season had even started. Uh, right after the what was it, 2021?
Was it
After the
Bulls?
Hawks series,
Okay.
like a few months after the Hawks series, where uh, the Sixers were offered apparently Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield for Ben Simmons, and the trade was declined.
I see. I want to believe that Daryl Morey did not get that offer. Like I want to believe that there's no way he saw that all he had to do was trade one player, and he's getting a young piece who's an all star, who would pair perfect with Joel and Tyrese Maxey, who would pair perfect with
Well,
those
at the
guys,
time, this
and a
was when
shooter, another shooter to add with Buddy Hield and Seth Curry out on the same fucking floor. Like Joel, there's no you can't you gotta play Joel fucking just straight up.
I think at the time, the issue was we have Tyrese Maxey, we have Seth Curry. Why would we trade for two players that are basically the same, if not potentially a little bit worse? Because Buddy Hield, like you said, Seth Curry was putting up career numbers. Buddy Hield was not. Tyrese Halliburton was still playing behind De'Aaron Fox. I mean, you know, Tyrese Maxey was as well. He was still playing behind Ben Simmons at the time. But once it was clear that Ben was going to sit out and Tyrese started to sort of emerge as a starter, then it was like, oh, wait, he might be better than Tyrese Halliburton, which some might say he is. Some might say he's not. It depends on who you ask. But either way, at the time, they were thinking like, if we're gonna trade an all star, we want an all star in return, and they just weren't that yet.
I honestly don't believe that was on the table. Like I can't believe that that was on the table, and
Well,
you
it might have been
look
because
the other
remember
way.
Sacramento was trying really really hard to get another all star next to De'Aaron Fox, which was part of the reason why when the Sabonis trade happened, a lot of people were shocked. They were like, "Whoa, like you're trading Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield," and I think they traded one more player
Oh, Tristan
for
Thompson.
yeah, for Sabonis and one other player. And Sabonis was like a one-time All-Star.
I
Now,
mean, he was like
granted,
a
that trade
replacement.
sort of worked out.
I think it was a replacement too.
Yeah, I think that trade sort of worked out because
Both
Sabonis and
sides.
De'Aaron Fox are great together, and Tyrese and Buddy are doing great in Indiana. Tyrese more so than Buddy, but still, at the time, Sacramento was pretty desperate.
Buddy Hield right now is taking, let me see, 7 threes a game. He's actually shooting his worst percentage from three in
Was it like 35, 36,
38.
38? Wow. Okay, that's his worst.
His worst percentage
Sorry,
from three
Sixers
since
fan here.
Sacramento when he shot like 36.
Okay.
Like I always look at these shooters, especially like
Oh, that's
shooters
why you said since Sacramento.
to Sacramento. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to say ever. That's why I
No,
was like, what is it,
no,
35?
no. His
Oh,
worst
okay.
3 point percentage was 36 point. Yeah, 36.6.
Okay.
No,
In
36
Sacramento.
2. Sorry, 36.2. That was his first year. Well, that doesn't really count because he was traded to um, Indy in that year, so it doesn't really count.
No, he was traded. You mean traded to Sacramento?
No, he was traded to Indy. His worst percentage is from the first year he got to Indy. So it was like the 26
Oh,
games.
not his first year in the league.
No. His first year in the league, he shot 39%.
Okay. Because I remember he was in New Orleans and they
Yeah,
got traded to
he got traded.
Sacramento.
Yeah, and DeMarcus Cousins do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like still, just like I look at him, he's shooting 38%. He's shooting 38%, and he's not really getting wide open looks. Can you imagine? You just imagine, man. But
I mean, it's tough. It's tough. It's one of those things where, like, looking back, somebody they also posted like a redraft, like a 2015 or 2016 redraft, and they had I think Jaylen Brown going number one to the 76ers. And I was like, yeah, I mean, Jaylen Brown on the Sixers right now would be great, but if you're smart about it and you know what's going to, if the whole point of a redraft is you know how these players' careers are going to go, I would still draft Ben Simmons number one overall. I just wouldn't keep him. I would trade him after 2019, and I would fire Brett Brown so that way I can keep JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, and I don't have to worry about offering Ben an extension and just hire a different coach, keep that team, trade Ben Simmons, who was at the height of his value because he was an all-star that year, and get either draft picks or just depth, get more players in return. That would be a much smarter decision than just saying, yeah, I'm going to just draft Jaylen Brown number one overall.
so,
Especially if you still try to make the Jimmy Butler trade.
so in other news, in other non-Sixer news, there were some trades today.
Yep.
The Timberwolves traded a second-round pick to the Pistons. Also traded Shake Milton and Troy Brown for Monte Morris. So former Sixer Shake Milton is on the process Pistons. Oh man,
The process Pistons,
on the process
where he
Pistons.
might not get any minutes anyway.
Might not. I mean, I'm guessing because this is the second move. The Pistons also traded for, I believe Fontecchio, not Fontecchio. What's his name? The shooter from Utah. Oh man, I'm blanking on his name, but like he lit the Sixers up. Oh man, what is his name? What is his name?
What's his name? What's his name?
There's gotta be a name. Who did they trade for? What's his name? What's his name be? I don't know. I can't find it. Can't find his name. But they traded for a shooter. So they're getting more shooting. Shake is a hypothetical shooter. And they're trying not to be the worst team.
Shaky shooter.
Yeah, shaky shooter. It's crazy because like Shake left to get more opportunity.
Right. And then he ended up on like the number one team in the West.
And they were like,
at least
all right,
at the time, and they were like, we don't need you. What are you talking about?
Bro is currently averaging 4.7 points, which would be the worst since his rookie year.
So he's getting less opportunity.
Yes. And it's crazy because Shake as a Sixer, second year in the league, first year obviously 4.4, second year 9.4, Third year, 13. That was the year where he was like 6 man a year candidate. Um, 8 points, 8.2. Last year, 8.4. Bro never had a year where he was like ever this bad.
I think Shake and Markel will go down as like two of the greatest like drop offs.
And I
Whereas
was
like I like their like where their potential was, like where they were going, and then just never making it there ever at all. Like Shake was improved. Shake was consistently improving all the way up until I would say that 2020 year when Ben was out in the playoffs and
and
he
he had
had
to
that really,
start, yeah,
yeah, he had that
at the
really
game
good
winner.
game. Yep, against Boston, and then ever since then it's just been like a consistent decline. Markel, youngest player ever to have a triple double, and ever since then it's just been like a consistent
Do you
decline.
know
And
that?
now he's just like an average player.
Do you know that youngest player to ever triple double goes away damn near every year? It becomes a new player like every year.
Well, because everybody's like slightly younger, like by a couple days.
They should be like, yeah,
Because
28,
remember that same
19 and
year it
302
changed twice.
games.
Because first it was Lonzo.
It was Lonzo, yeah, and then Fultz got it at the like end of the year, and I remember that.
Yeah,
Remember that game? I remember him getting that rebound. I'm like, holy shit, how the fuck did he get that rebound? Like he soared for that shit.
bro. Pat Bev had a similar rebound a couple nights ago
Oh yeah, when he,
when Tyrese had 51, that last bucket,
bro was
that
like,
last shot that
how,
went off the rim. Pat got up.
dog? Where did this come from? He had a dunk against. We was playing. Was it Golden State? Was it Golden State? He had a dunk. It was like a little rim grazer, but it was like, oh shit, where did this come from?
Bro, Kyrie threw down an alley oop the other day.
Like an athletic alley oop too,
Yeah,
like
like
a
he hung it. It
cockback.
looked like a
Like
LeBron
it's
jump.
like
I
what
was
the
like,
fuck?
oh.
I'm getting
But you know
news.
what's funny? Somebody pointed out under that in the comments under that video, because everybody's like, oh, Kyrie Irving threw down an alley oop, he got bounced for real. And then somebody was like, no, Kyrie Irving has always had bounce. He just doesn't dunk. He just uses his hang time, like his bounce, to get added hang time so he can do crazy ass layups. It was like if you watch him play, he gets up, he just holds the ball in the air, floating for 2 minutes, and then throws the ball off the backboard some crazy way. It was like, but he could dunk easily.
I feel
He
like
just
I feel
jumps
like
up and then
guys
hangs.
guys like that, especially like Steph. The reason Steph doesn't do it is because of the ankle injuries, and he doesn't really need to. He has this crazy ass floater package that makes no sense. Kyrie as well, like he doesn't really need to put himself in that situation where he could come down wrong. He had the broken kneecap in the finals, I believe, stuff like that, where he doesn't need to put pressure on his his knees and stuff like that. Hey, bro, I'm just gonna finish this nice. He's gonna make it look nice. I'm gonna make it look better than a dunk could ever be, and
I'm gonna get up high as I need to get to the backboard.
that's it.
Once the ball's on the backboard, it's in.
Then there.
It's either in or you're gonna goaltend it. That's
Did you
it.
did you see how he got his layups like this? Did
Yeah,
you hear the story?
playing on a backboard with holes.
With holes, so he had to hit it off the backboard a certain way for it to go in. That shit is ridiculous, bro. That is
I
fucking
mean,
ridiculous.
I saw a picture. Somebody posted a picture. He had I guess at his house or whatever in New Jersey. Like there was an actual picture of the rim of the hoop that he was shooting on. And it was just like a regular like Walmart basketball hoop with like the plastic backboard. And it was just like where the box is on the backboard was just a hole. It was just like somebody literally just cut out a box,
That is
cut
crazy.
out the square, and then like drew other squares.
So he could know
It
where
was
to.
it was crazy. But yeah, that's the dedication.
Oh, there was another trade today. The Celtics got a steal. Oh, they
Always.
got it. They got a steal. They
I
got
don't like how Danny Ainge just taught Brad Stevens all of his little trickery.
so. The Celtics have acquired Xavier Tillman from the Memphis Grizzlies for 2 second-round picks.
What?
2 second-round picks. Xavier Tillman, in the absence of, I believe, Steven Adams, last year against the Lakers, put up like 27 and 15.
This is why people think sports is scripted. The minute LeBron went to LA, the NBA was just like, we got to make sure the Celtics are good too.
Like, Xavier Tillman is a big body. He's kind of a smaller. I think he's like 6'7". Oh, he's 6'7" exactly. 6'7", 245. Just a guy where he just knows where to be. He's not one of those high maintenance. He's
Yeah.
a rim runner, catch it high, keep it high, traditional, like backup big. And I feel like that's going to be one of the guys that we're going to be annoyed with.
Same thing with I forget his name, but he's a rookie and he's doing really really well. The center in Dallas.
Oh, Derek Lively.
Yeah. Like it's another one like he just is he was just ready like mentally.
I
He
mean,
wasn't
also
a super high like
his his play style fits with
yeah.
Luca because he's rim running big.
Yeah.
Crazy. They actually traded back to get him.
Yep.
Man. So who other than the guys we listed, who would you like to see the Sixers get? Also, wait, before we even get to that, so Joel's injury, we do know it. It was a partial tear. I believe it was a partial tear of like a flap. Was like I don't know how did they word that?
I think they said it was like a lateral tear, like a partial lateral tear in his meniscus.
It was something weird. The way they
Yeah.
described it was weird. But he had surgery on it.
Basically that like his whole the whole tendon has not been torn.
Yeah. So 2 days ago he had surgery. Like we brought up kind of briefly, uh 4 to 8 weeks. It's his timetable. The Sixers want him to be. I mean, I guess more so he wants him to be back this year. Obviously that depends on seeding, because
Yep.
you're not bringing Joel back to play in a fucking playing game. Um, and it's like it's kind of like if he doesn't play this year, I
I
kind of
mean,
want
I
to.
think it depends on. I think it does depend on seeding because if we're the seventh seed and you only have to win one game, I would do it.
But this is the thing, I probably wouldn't, because like at that point, missing the playoffs actually bodes better for us because we own our
Mhm.
pick.
Yeah,
We own our pick, and that's more trade bait. We know this is if we miss the playoffs, we know it's a fluke. It's not like oh we missed it, we could have had it. Like we know it's a fluke.
I mean, yeah, everybody was just hurt, but the
Everybody
problem is we have so
everybody's
many
hurt.
expiring contracts. Like,
Run it back.
yeah,
There's so many guys you could pay, and also that
yeah,
once again, a lot of teams don't want the Sixers picks because the Sixers picks are going to be at the end of the draft. Even the Clippers picks, they those picks are going to be damn near at the end of the draft. So if you have a lottery pick to go with those picks, it makes it better because now, oh shit, I got a 14th overall pick or I got the 13th, 12th overall pick. I mean, it's hard kind of see them to miss the playoffs because they do have a lot of cushion. I think they're probably like 3.5 games over the next team down,
hmm
and the Pacers just got Buddy Hield. I'm not Buddy Hield. Pascal Siakam. So like literally, here we are, fifth
they're about to
seed.
jump.
We're about to be 30-20. The Pacers are 29-23. The Heat are 27-24. The Magic are 27-24. And I don't see us falling lower than. Damn, we could really be fall. We could really fall to the eighth seed. I don't really see us falling lower than that because then you get to the Bulls who are 24-27. Hawks are 22-28. The Nets are 20-30. I don't see us going lower than the eighth seed, but like there's a world where like we keep losing, and we end up in the eighth seed, and it's like, do you really want to fucking play the Celtics in the first round? And hey, Joel, hey, we're glad you're back. Here's the Celtics.
See, that's tough because if that's the case, imagine if you get a healthy Joel Embiid back in the first round and Marcus Morris and Robert Covington and most of our other key
And
guys.
depending on who we trade for too, as well.
Right. Imagine if you are fully healthy at the start of the first round and you have the Celtics who should by all accounts be your toughest opponent for the whole playoffs. Now you might get to the next round and be able to rest Joel some games depending on who you got next. Like that's tough. That's tough to get your biggest like if they get that first game and it's competitive or if the Sixers win,
So let's say
that's a hard that's tempting. That's hard
let's
to pass
let's say
up.
the Sixers stay afloat, right? So the 1-8 matchup would be Orlando versus the Celtics, which Orlando has played well against the Celtics. They have a lot of big
Mm-hmm.
bodies to throw. The 2-7 would be Miami versus Cleveland. The 3-6 would be, oh my god, that's gonna be fucking dope. 3-6 would be the Bucks versus the Pacers,
Yeah.
and then the 4-5 would be us versus the Knicks. Knicks obviously at home. And the Knicks, obviously, I'm banking on one in any of these hypotheticals, Joel being healthy and us making moves. So the Knicks are beatable. The Bucks are beatable. The Cavs are beatable. All these teams are beatable. And the Celtics have not beaten the Sixers. I mentioned this to Sean when we were at work. The Celtics have never beaten a healthy Sixers team in the playoffs. It's always been something. And obviously that's been Joel, that's been the Sixers kind of playoffs in its entirety. But the Celtics have not beaten us fully healthy. And the closest we got to fully healthy, it was 7 games. And now it's like you said, if we go in there fully healthy, we make some changes, and we take out the Celtics first round,
Right.
that it'd be some crazy shit. Cause like y'all did all these trades, y'all traded away Robert Williams, traded away what's his name? I forget his name. Marcus Smart. I did all this to lose to the Sixers in the first round.
And especially because health is such a fluctuating thing. Kristaps might not make it to the playoffs.
Yes, that is
Like I'm
very much
not
true.
banking on it. Obviously, I wouldn't hope for that. But Kristaps is also somebody who does have an injury history, and he is a very big part of their offense right now. Like they have guys who might not make it to
I
the end.
and okay, it's a weird situation we are in right now, being Sixers fans. But I kind of love that we're getting our ass kicked because it's kind of forcing Daryl Morey. Like even if you were going to sit on your hands because Joel, you're uncertain about Joel, it kind of forces your hand to go. All right, we can't go out like this. Like
Right.
you can't keep getting constantly blown out game after game after game. This is like process Sixers all over again. Whereas like we have no hope. And it's like we are more talented, obviously, than those guys, than that team. But it's like also we get the injuries does play a factor. Obviously, actually D'Anthony Melton was supposed to come back against the Mavericks, but had a setback, and he's missed 2 games now since. So this is the 12th game he's missed. So like Nick's platoon, obviously he's an older guy, hamstrings, stuff like that. Marcus Morris probably is out because of some similar reason, but also probably because he's probably the guy they're going to trade in terms of contracts.
Yeah.
I expect it to be kind of Robert Covington, Marcus Morris Sr., Furkan, and Paul Reed are probably the expendable of the bunch. Obviously Tobias Harris, but I don't really see a world where they do that unless there's like something crazy. Because I have made this trade. Here I go with my trades and shit. I made this trade, which would trade Tobias Harris
What do you think? I was gonna say, what do you think about a potential signing trade?
with Tobias.
Yeah.
Who?
Like, are you talking deadline or are you talking about end of the
So
season?
so when I made this trade, it was deadline, but I also made
Okay.
this trade a while ago.
Okay.
Um, it was the Sixers would get Jeremy Grant, Malcolm Brogdon, Matisse Thybulle coming back, and Andre Drummond. The Trailblazers would get Tobias Harris, Marcus Morris Sr., Robert Covington, Paul Reed, and 3 first-round picks. Hornets were also in this deal just to get off money to different places. Hornets would get Furkan, Terry Taylor, Jabari Walker in the second-round pick, kind of just as a throwing team to throw stuff to. And then the Bulls would get Book Knight, Springer, KJ Martin, and 3 second-round picks. And you now have Jeremy Grant, Malcolm Brogdon, Matisse Thybulle, and Andre Drummond, which would help you better manage this Joel Embiid-less time
Yeah.
because you basically added all four are capable defenders.
Yeah.
All 3 of them are shooting in 38 or higher percent from 3. Jeremy Grant, he comes back. Matisse Thybulle obviously comes back. Drummond comes back. Malcolm Brogdon, who I really want, and the Sixers are in talks with Portland on potentially getting playmaker, defends, shoots threes at a high volume and a high percentage. And I just feel like all those guys fit what we have. They don't take
Yeah.
away, and they most likely add more to what we had originally. And we're losing with Tobias, Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Paul Reed. You got Andre Drummond, Robert Covington. You're kind of getting Matisse back. That kind of counteracts that. Marcus Morris is expendable. Furkan wasn't playing. Jaden Springer and KJ Martin weren't playing. You add in Jeremy Grant, who's a better defender than Tobias Harris. Kind of has the same problems with Tobias and Jeremy. They are not really stationary shooters. They're more kind of shot creators in a way,
Yeah.
and you kind of need that third shot creator. And he is more of non-liability because Tobias sometimes when his shot's not falling, he's not like a guy where it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna play defense. It's kind of like, well, I'm kind of here. Whereas though
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant is going to at least go,
He's like, I'm just gonna keep shooting.
I'm gonna keep trying. But I think this would help us like a lot.
Yeah. I think Tobias sometimes has a little bit too much pressure to be the third option.
And then what I would
Whereas like, bruh, you could just be like the best defender on the floor. Like you are physically capable of doing that. If you're not hitting your shot, you can just start locking niggas up, but you just don't.
and what I would add to that is Jeremy Grant is under contract for 5 years. Marco
Mm,
Brogdon is on a contract for 2 years. Matisse Thybulle is on a contract for another 3 years. So now you kind of eliminate your free agency, but it's also if Paul George signs with the Clippers, there's nothing in free agency. So
yeah.
you basically not only have you secured guys for multiple years, but also that also makes you be able to go out and re-sign a D'Anthony Melton, not wait for somebody to potentially offer him a contract and then you have to match it or pay above it. Like you can go
Yeah.
into free agency with them as your main priority and getting those
And
guys back. Like
and I'm not gonna sit here and just write it off completely, but the way things are going now, it's extremely unlikely that Paul George leaves the Clippers.
yeah.
Like that was the team that he wanted to
Unless
go,
there's a crazy flame out in
right?
the playoffs. But
Which I don't see
he
because they're
has
just getting better.
he has yet to sign an extension. That's the only reason I said that. Kawhi has signed
Well,
his,
yeah,
which took him off the potential. I didn't really see Kawhi coming here in the first place, but I think
no,
Paul George is more of the guy that cool with Joel would possibly potentially leave. Obviously, that's his hometown, but like opportunity is opportunity. If you feel as though that's not it, go to another place where they have cap space, so it's not like you're taking like a vet minimum or you're taking a significant pay cut, a pay if any. You really getting the money that you are worth, and you have a chance to win with two other guys who are already established, and from that they could bring back D'Anthony Melton's, um, Andre Drummond, or like whoever they trade for that they can still bring those guys back, and then now you have three legit guys, and then depth like we haven't had that. It's kind of either or with us.
yeah,
So yeah,
we'll see. I mean, they have till 3 o'clock tomorrow. Daryl Morey has never been shy about making moves, but he's also never been.
he's made a move every
Nobody's ever
year.
accused. Nobody's ever accused him of being the best at it.
He's made
Um,
he's made a move every year. Every
yeah,
year he's made a move, at least one.
yeah,
And I
and
feel
he's been decent.
and I feel like even if it's so, this is how we will tell where the Sixers mindset is. If they trade like a Tobias Harris for or any player that we value or for picks, we know that they're kind of like the season is whatever.
The season's
we're
done. Yeah,
gonna we're gonna acquire all the picks that we can because there might be a star by in the playoffs or crazy exit or injury to another player where a star is gonna go like, all right, cool. I don't like the situation. A star
yeah,
that
I went out.
we have not listed or have not said because we are not thinking about that star asking it out could potentially ask out, and now you're kind of stacked with, hey, that star wants to win. Cool, we got everything you want and more.
I mean, I hate to say it. I hate to say it because I don't think he would do it. But I think when you're talking about the type of player that we would like, there is one guy who matches that description to a T. He's a big wing. He can play catch and shoot. He can also create his own shot.
Are you going to say Klay Thompson?
No,
Oh,
nope. He's someone who's a tremendous scorer, but he's also not a slouch on defense. He tries. He steps it up when he needs to, and he has been known to switch teams when he gets upset. And if they have a flame out,
ain't no way you talk about LeBron James.
no,
Okay, then who are you talking about?
Kevin Durant.
Oh, I never thought about that. Like once again, that could be a name that we don't think about that could become available, and if you throw the right pieces at it, you could get him. But I also
And
don't.
KD loves Joel.
He loves hate him. It's a fucking weird
Yes, it's
relationship.
yeah. But
Very
see,
weird.
but KD is one of those players where like when he's playing against you, he likes if you're not nice to him.
Yeah, it kind of
Like
motivates him.
him and PJ are best friends, and they go at it every single fucking time.
So here's some of the people that would be free agents. Pascal Siakam, obviously has not re-signed or signed a deal with the Pacers. He
Yeah,
would be a free agent. LeBron James has a player option. Drew Holiday also has a player option. Tobias, as we know, DeMar DeRozan, Emmanuel Quickly, James, fucking sign James. Can you imagine if we get cap space just for fucking Daryl Morey to re-sign James Harden, bro? We finally get cap space. And you're like, hey, we signed this.
remember all that money you wanted?
We got it.
We
Uh,
got it now.
OG Anunoby is another guy who got traded to the Knicks. I expect him to stay there because he's the perfect fit. They're
Yeah,
very good. Knicks are also interested in Bruce Brown. I feel like they just are acquiring all the winner guys like Josh
yeah,
Hart's, the OG Anunobys, just the winners,
yeah.
winning type players. Nicholas Claxton, see that. D'Angelo Russell has a player option. Um, he was linked to the Sixers for a little bit, as the Sixers were a potential third team in the DeJounte Murray trade to the
Yeah.
Lakers, and it would probably have been like DeJounte Murray to the Lakers, D'Angelo Russell to the Sixers, Marcus Morris, and like a first round pick to um, the
Atlanta.
Atlanta Hawks. Um, Also Malik Monk. I actually think he's returning to Sacramento. His homie's there, so no point.
And they're playing
KCP,
well, well
KCP,
enough.
KCP is a name that
Yeah,
the Sixers should definitely look into. A champion, damn near everywhere he went. He plays hard. He plays defense. Shoots the three extremely well. I think it's gonna be hard to pry him away from Denver.
yeah,
But throw a bag. You know what I mean? People didn't think JJ Redick was gonna leave the Clippers. But throw that bag. You know what I mean? We gonna have
yeah,
some money. Miles Bridges, who might be a person who's traded, he's been linked to a lot of teams. It's crazy. Nobody wanted to sign him in like the free agency pool.
yeah,
Obviously what happened, so that's why a lot of teams were away from him. But he's another name. Klay Thompson, who I think the Sixers are favorite to sign. I don't know what the deal would look like, but having a Klay Thompson wouldn't hurt you. Obviously, if
I
the
think
deal doesn't make sense, it
for
makes sense.
veteran experience and presence at the bare minimum, he's worth a look. But I think the money's going to be. I don't want it to be a Tobias Harris situation where you're overpaying for
And
experience
he's
and
like,
good enough offense and good enough defense.
this the thing with Tobias was like 26 when we signed him,
Right.
and it was like, all right, cool. This year they signed him also because they lost Jimmy Butler, so they were like, all right, we can't lose everything. Let's throw him some money and he's gonna be good. Um,
Yeah.
but Tobias also is 26. Clay is 34.
Right.
So signing somebody to a 5 year deal and they're fucking 39.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the reluctance to give James Harden that sort of money
yeah.
gives me a little bit of hope that they wouldn't do the same thing for Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
The only caveat, even though I can't even really say this actually for Klay Thompson, the only caveat is that typically shooters age better in the NBA. Like James Harden, you notice like how much slower he is now compared to obviously Houston James Harden. His moves aren't working the same way that they used to, but he's made up for it by being able to be a tremendous passer.
Mm-hmm.
Klay Thompson is just he's a shooter. Like shooting doesn't go away, but because of the way that he shoots, the lower body injuries, I think, are visibly catching up to him. He's not getting as much lift on his jump shot. He like it's just you can just see that for whatever reason for him, like the the miles are sort of catching up to him. Whereas typically it's the opposite. For shooters, they're able to last as long as they can shoot.
Right.
JJ was in the league for a long time. Reggie Miller was in the league for a long time. Dirk, you know, even Bogdanovich. Like,
Um,
shooters last a while typically.
I'm gonna list you some more names. Buddy Hill is also a free agent. He's a unrestricted free agent. Bruce Brown has a team option, so I would expect either if they don't trade him already, I expect maybe they trade him, flip him again for more picks.
Yeah.
But he has helped them like immediately. He's one of those impact winning players, not a star, but can raise his level of play. I think we kind of have a Bruce Brown in a way with D'Anthony Melton, with like
Yeah.
his Swiss Army knife ability to be a playmaker some nights, to be a shooter some nights, to be a defender every night, to play bigger than what he is. I think we already got one, but like it would not, hurt. Jonas Valanciunas is a free agent. Spencer Dinwiddie, who the Sixers were linked to, and I was like kind of disgusted because like he shoots damn near 39% from his field goal range, like all field goals. Like he shoots 39%.
Yeah.
Keep him away from this team.
Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help. I mean, obviously Kelly Oubre, D'Anthony Melton. Oh damn, these are all Sixers. But like yeah, Tyus Jones also somebody we've been linked to. Gordon Hayward is another guy we've been linked to. Mike Conley's could be a good backup point guard. Sadiq Bey. So there's a lot of guys. This free agency is not star driven, but there's a lot of pieces, fit pieces,
Yeah.
and like potential game swingers in this free agency that I feel like even if we do like a trade where we get a solidified third guy and he has under contract, we can add to that rather than trying to get another guy because obviously you got to
Right.
pay Tyrese as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he
He's
does
an all-star now.
Yeah, he's an all-star now, man. All-star. Congratulations. All-star, then drops 51 and then loses the next 5.
Yep.
we
Also, it's been announced that Tyrese Maxey will participate in the three-point contest.
yeah, first guy from the Sixers since
Kyle
Kyle
Korver.
Korver in 2006, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, 2006. What year was AI traded? Because AI was still on the team when Kyle Korver did
2006.
the.
Remember the deadline was after
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
All-Star game, so they traded so they
Yeah.
put it before. So yeah, bro. Here we are. Here we are again,
In the thick of it.
depressed
Well,
as always.
we'll have more clarification on what the season will be by tomorrow, end of the day. But for now, all we can do is wait.
If anything,
By the way, the Sixers got their ass bust, 127 to 104.
yeah. If
So,
anything, I believe
yeah.
Sean, you're gonna be at work tomorrow. If anything crazy happens, for the Sixers, I'm gonna hop on. I'm gonna do a solo update pod.
Live?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
update pod live maybe. Anything crazy happen, I'm gonna hop on. So make sure to come to YouTube. I'm gonna make sure it's gonna be a YouTube exclusive. If it's not going to be something I'm gonna post to all the stuff, all the podcast networks, it's not gonna be nothing like that. It's gonna be a YouTube exclusive. If I can say the word right, if the word come out. There we go. So follow us at Check Rock Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Follow us at just Check Rock on YouTube. And you can get this.
Want to make that abundantly clear.
Just Check Rock.
Just Check Rock.
Just Check Rock. If you
Not
put in
JUST Check Rock.
Check Rock.
That's it.
Check Rock. That's the name of the show. Check Rock. Just like that. If you go Check Rock Podcast, you went too far. You went too far. If you see white people,
imagine he didn't even say that. Just ignore all that. Just Check Rock. That's it. That's
if you see white people, you're not in the right place.
Yeah, you're not in the right place.
You're not in the right place. Stop. Get some help.
Copy. Get some help.
We appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the pod. And we'll see you next week or tomorrow. Most likely tomorrow. They're going to do something. So I'll probably see you tomorrow. But Sean, we'll see you next week.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye.